Next, we'll find out why exercise is not only good for our bodies, but for our brains, too. Welcome back to Fit to Hit. Researchers have found that regular aerobic exercise, the kind that gets your heart pumping and makes you sweat, is also good for our brain. We're here at UCLA's Center for Cognitive Neuroscience to find out more. Dr. Sarah McEwen is the founder of the UCLA Exercise and Cognition Research Symposium. With a lifelong interest in exercise, she was inspired by studies that have shown the positive impact of aerobic exercise on the brain.
One of the groups walked 3 times a week for an hour, and the other group was a sedentary control group where they didn't do any aerobic activity. And then he put them in the MRI scan after 6 months of that intervention.
Scanning their brains.
Scanning their brains. After 6 months, the people that were in the walking group compared to the people that didn't do any of the walking actually changed their brains. And it changed it in areas that were really important, areas that are known to decline with age. For instance, the frontal parts of the brain. And what that means is that you actually have the ability to change your own brain based on what activities you do. That area in yellow there, that's the part of the brain, that's what's called white matter, and that's the dendritic connections within the brain. And it actually increased the connectivity of the 2 hemispheres of the brain along the corpus callosum. So you're actually getting a bigger and more efficiently functioning brain just through going for a walk.
To get my cross-train on, I'm hitting the court for a training session Sarah created called Genius Gyms that combine cognitive training with aerobic exercise.
I look at this as, cross-training for the brain. So the first game we're gonna do is called Visual Feature Search. This is something we do every day, like if you're scanning a crowd to find your friends, something like that. And also, it's absolutely integral in tennis when you're trying to keep your eye on the ball and not get distracted by other things that might be going on at the time. We're gonna have an array of 6 lights that you're gonna see. You're gonna need to find the light that doesn't have the middle lit up. And then I want you to keep up that aerobic intensity. So I want you to do steam engines, these cross-body movements. You're connecting the 2 hemispheres of the brain. When you move your left arm, it's activating the right side of your body, and the opposite for your right arm and your left side of your brain.
Sarah uses a tablet and heart rate monitor to track heart rate, reaction, and speed time.
With exercise, there's a lot of things that are happening in the brain. It's not just one singular system that's at play here. One actually being the increase in neurotrophic factors, which you can think of as being like miracle growth for the brain. Like you sprinkle them in, and they actually help the brain grow, making the brain more efficient.
I'm getting tired already.
Now you really got to push your brain, too. There was an interesting study that was done that looked at trained athletes versus novices at a sport. What they found was the novices to the sport, they actually shut down the front part of their brain. We call it transient hypofrontality. Kind of getting into a state where, you can't even use those higher order skills in your brain, and you're just focusing on the minutia detail of like, where do I put my hands? So you can't even do complex thought processes. So if something happens in the game that you weren't expecting, your brain's not gonna know what to do. But what they found in the trained athletes was the hypofrontality doesn't happen to them. So that's why those athletes are able to think quickly on their feet and adapt to the new situations. You didn't miss any of the targets, which is great, so your accuracy was 100%.
Nice.
And your average reaction time was 2.9 seconds.
Is that good?
It's really good, yeah. On average, we get people around 3 seconds, so you're right in that perfect zone.
I will take it, but I could really see how this would give a tennis player specifically an edge over the rest of the competition when you're starting to get into that 3rd set and you can still maintain focus. Is there a way that people at home could mimic something like this?
Start walking on the treadmill, then get into a jog. Then you can start doing simple things like counting backwards from 100 by 7.
I like that one. Thank you so much, Sarah. I really appreciate it.